Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the most popular beauty products in old Hollywood, and I'm going to feature a few super famous old Hollywood actresses and their favorite beauty products that you can still buy today. So first on the list is Marilyn Monroe, and let's talk about Marilyn Monroe. So she was born on June 1st, 1926 and passed away on August 4th, 1962. And she was an American actress, model, and singer, and she was famous for playing the blonde bombshell, and she was a popular sex symbol in the 1950s and early 1960s. And I have so many Marilyn Monroe videos, so if you want to learn more about her, make sure you check out my other videos. And long after her death, she continues to be a major icon of pop culture. In 1999, the American Film Institute ranked Marilyn Monroe 6th on the list of the greatest female screen legends from the golden age of Hollywood. So let's talk about some of her favorite beauty products. So Marilyn Monroe wore Chanel No. 5, and this was one of her go-to perfumes. And Chanel No. 5 is a 1920s perfume launched in 1921, and the fragrance was made by the perfumer and chemist Ernest Bew. And the design of the bottle is also important to the product's allure, and Coco Chanel was the first face of the fragrance, published in Harper's Bazaar in 1937. And one of Marilyn Monroe's other favorite perfumes was by Floris, and this is a rose geranium perfume. And apparently this perfume was delivered to her in bulk at the Beverly Hills Hotel when she filmed Some Like It Hot. And this perfume features notes of rose, geranium, sandalwood. This perfume now is discontinued, but it is still available in a bath essence if you want to try it. But they also have a lot of different other scents too. And for makeup, Marilyn loved the Anita of Denmark Daydew Cream Foundation. And this one is definitely a heavier foundation. It almost doubles as a concealer. So if you want more of a heavier coverage, I would recommend it. It is a really good coverage, but it doesn't give you that really light, dewy look depending on what you're going for. And you can still buy this one today, and it's available online. And she also loved Nivea, which is another one of my favorite creams. I love Nivea too. And Nivea is over 100 years old, and it's still popular today, and millions of people still use it, and it's definitely a vintage staple. And I use it every day. I love using it on my body, even on my face. It's super moisturizing, and I kind of like the vintage scent to it and kind of the vintage blue tin. And another one of Marilyn Monroe's favorite skincare products was Vaseline, and she would use this on her face to kind of create a soft focus. She actually used it as a highlighter on her cheekbones and used it as a primer as well. I think she had really dry skin. And Vaseline is super old as well. It was invented in 1859, and it was actually invented on the oil rigs. They ended up putting the residue called rod wax on different wounds and burns, and it helped kind of cure these scabs. And then they ended up taking it and creating a cream and called it Vaseline, and the oil workers were using this on their skin, and they brought the sample of rod wax back to Brooklyn and extracted the usable petroleum jelly and began manufacturing a medical product that they called Vaseline. And when it comes to makeup, Marilyn Monroe also used a Max Factor, and she was featured in many Max Factor ads in the 1950s and early 60s, and she used the Max Factor Pan Stik foundation, which is kind of a stick foundation, and she also used the Max Factor Cream Puff Compact Powder, and you can buy those two today as well. And she also used different Max Factor lipsticks. There's actually a Marilyn Monroe Ruby Red by Max Factor, which is kind of a replica of a nice 1950s red. And she also used Flint's earplugs. This was found in her estate that was sold at auction, so I wanted to conclude that. And she also loved Elizabeth Arden makeup, which is another super old brand. And by 1929, Elizabeth Arden owned 150 salons in Europe and the United States, and her thousands of products were being sold in 22 countries. So she's been around for a while, and you can still buy Elizabeth Arden products today, and there's a lot of really nice foundation shades and lipsticks. And it's definitely a classic beauty brand. And Marilyn Monroe also loved Erno Laszlo, which is another iconic vintage skincare brand. that was really popular in old Hollywood. A lot of old Hollywood actresses used Erno Laszlo. He created custom formulas for them, and this included Marilyn Monroe as one of his clients, and he even invented a cream for her, the Phormula 3-9, which you can still buy today. And he invented this cream for a scar on her chin, and he created custom formulas and rituals for Marilyn Monroe, as well as other actresses that I will mention in this video. And you can still see the prescription online that he made for Marilyn. And he became a trusted skincare expert for most of Hollywood's famous faces, even Jackie Kennedy. And Marilyn loved the Erno Laszlo Skincare Limited Edition Shake It Tinted treatment, which was recently re-released in 2020. She also used the light controlling lotion, the cleansing bar, the Phormula 3-9 serum, the pre-cleansing oil, and night cream. Next on the list is Audrey Hepburn, and Audrey Hepburn was born on May 4th, 1929 and passed away January 20th, 1993. She was a British actress and humanitarian, and she's recognized both as a film and fashion icon, and was ranked by the American Film Institute as the third greatest female screen legend from the golden age of Hollywood. And she was also inducted into the International Best Dressed List Hall of Fame. And some of her favorite beauty products were a Revlon lipstick called Pink in the Afternoon, and people are saying that this was the lipstick that she wore in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And then she also loved Estee Lauder products. Later in life, she loved the Re-Nutriv Ultimate Lift collection, as well as the Regenerating Youth cream and the Lightweight cream, as well as the Advanced Night Repair Recovery serum. So there's a lot of different Estee Lauder products that she used, and those ones are quite expensive. I've never personally used them, but I've always wanted to try them. And for hair, she loved the Kingsley Elasticizer cream. It was kind of a conditioner for your hair, and that was actually invented specifically for Audrey Hepburn, the Elasticizer, and you can still buy that one today. And Audrey also used Erno Laszlo. She loved the Sea Mud Deep Cleansing Bar. And she also used Erno Laszlo face cream and night cream, which you can still buy today. And for perfume, she loved the Givenchy that was actually invented for her, and it's French for forbidden. And this one was created in 1957. Rumors are that Audrey didn't want Givenchy to release this scent, but it was ultimately made available for purchase in the 1960s. And this is a floral fragrance that includes bergamot, rose, jasmine, iris, violet, narcissus, and sandalwood. And years later, Audrey also wore Creed Spring Flower, another scent created just for her. And next on the list is Sharon Tate, and she's kind of a 1960s icon. She was born January 24th, 1943 and passed away tragically on August 9th, 1969. She was an American actress and model. And during the 1960s, Sharon played small television roles before appearing in films, and she was regularly featured in fashion magazines as a model and cover girl. She received positive reviews for her comedic and dramatic acting performances, and Tate was hailed as one of Hollywood's most promising newcomers. She appeared in many films during the 1960s, including one in 1966, which was a horror film called Eye of the Devil. Her most remembered performance was as Jennifer North in the 1967 cult classic film Valley of the Dolls, which earned her a Golden Globe Award nomination. That year, she also performed in the film The Fearless Vampire Killers, and this one was directed by her future husband at the time, Roman Polanski. On August 9th, 1969, Tate and 4 others were murdered by members of the Manson family, a cult, in the home she shared with Polanski. She was 8.5 months pregnant. This is such a tragic story. And I found all of her items at auction, and you can still look at them online if you want to see what products she used. And she also used Erno Laszlo. She used the face soap that Audrey Hepburn also used. and this was kind of her favorite brand of soap. She also loved Jovan Mink and Pearls bath oil beads, and I found an original container on eBay. And she also used a Sonda facial steamer, and I actually ended up finding one of those as well, a vintage version. And it came with a set of like a facial scrub and facial emollient. And for perfume, Sharon loved Chanel No. 5. Similar to Marilyn Monroe, that was a super popular perfume. It still is today. And I also found that she used Almay Frosted Shell Pink lipstick, which came in a gold tone case. And she also loved the London Look Frosted Slicker lipsticks in a gold tone case with a stripe motif. And she also loved the Guerlain perfume Jicky, which is another super old perfume and a classic fragrance. It's kind of similar to Chanel No. 5. And next on the list is Sophia Loren, and she was born September 20th in 1934, and she is still alive, and she's an Italian film actress, and she's one of the last surviving stars from the golden age of Hollywood. And Sophia was encouraged to enroll in acting lessons after entering a beauty pageant. She began her film career at the age of 16 in 1950. In 1956, she signed a 5-picture contract with Paramount and launched her international career. And for perfume, Sophia Loren wore a few different perfumes. The first one is Creed Irisa, and this one was launched in 1968, and this one is a beautiful fragrance, and it's made from the finest iris from Florence. And this perfume has really stood the test of time. And the middle notes are supported with tuberose and violet. And she also loved Emmanuel Diva perfume, and this one was launched in 1983. And this one is a semi-oriental floral perfume, and it has notes of ylang ylang, vanilla, sandalwood, tuberose, and citrus. And this one's different than the Creed one. And Sophia Loren also launched her own perfume in 1980 with Coty. And this one was designed for Sophia Loren, and the top notes are bergamot, orange, clove, cinnamon, orris, orchid. And the finish is broad and includes notes of oak moss, cedarwood, and amber. And for makeup, Sophia Loren collaborated with Dolce & Gabbana to create a lipstick dedicated to her. And this lipstick is called Sophia Loren No. 1, and is a perfect shade of pink and red. And the lipstick bullet was designed by Sophia Loren herself, which made them unique. I think you can still get this lipstick on eBay, but I don't think it's available new anymore because I tried looking online. And she also used olive oil in her skincare routine. She would take baths in olive oil and used it as a moisturizer and a hair mask. And she also most likely used Lux face soap. I ended up finding several vintage advertisements of Sophia Loren promoting Lux soap, so there's a chance that she also used it. And Lux soap was launched in the United States in 1925. And I also found a bunch of vintage ads featuring Sophia Loren and Max Factor, so there's also a good chance she used Max Factor makeup. And I think a lot of old Hollywood actresses did in the 1950s and 60s. And next on the list is Elizabeth Taylor. And Elizabeth Taylor was a British-American actress who started her career as a child actress in the early 1940s, and she became one of the most popular stars from the golden age of Hollywood, especially in the 1950s, but her career continued into the 1960s, and she remained a well-known public figure the rest of her life. And Elizabeth Taylor had many beauty secrets and would spend several hours doing her makeup. So she actually did her own makeup and didn't hire a makeup artist. She would spend half an hour doing her lips and an hour and a half applying her eye makeup. To set her makeup, she would take a long bubble bath and use the steam as a way to set her makeup. And Elizabeth Taylor actually loved drugstore beauty brands. And this would include Jergens face cream, which is a drugstore staple, and you can still buy Jergens face cream today. Later in life, she did, however, end up using a lot of higher-end brands, including Elizabeth Arden. She loved Elizabeth Arden 8-Hour Cream, which is from the 1930s, and her favorite setting powder was a Japanese brand called Magquafard. And I love the kind of purple case. It definitely has a vintage look, and you can still buy this one. There's a seller on eBay that sells it, so I'll link that below. And since Elizabeth Taylor had long double lashes, she would never wear false eyelashes. And she loved to wear matte gray eyeliner to make her eyes popped. And this was a soft gray eyeliner that blended easily with her eyeshadow. And she loved a soft makeup look and would not do any contouring. Instead, she opted for a really subtle, pretty pink blush. And she actually collected Elizabeth Arden lipsticks, and she had an extensive collection. And I have a few Elizabeth Arden lipsticks as well, and they have a really nice finish, and they're very long, lasting, and creamy. And I like that they're vintage too, and they come in that unique gold container. And for perfume, she had a few favorites. She loved Jungle Gardenia, Jean de Presse Bal à Versailles, and obviously her own fragrance, White Diamonds. And Jungle Gardenia is definitely a vintage fragrance. I love the smell of gardenias. This is one of my favorites, and it's worn by a lot of old Hollywood actresses, including Barbara Stanwyck. And this one was launched in 1932. It's a blend of gardenia and jasmine, as well as lily of the valley and other romantic notes. And it's a very light, refreshing floral fragrance. And Bal à Versailles, and this one was launched in 1962. And this one has soft, sweet, spicy notes, as well as orange flower, musk, and civet. And of course, White Diamonds, which was her first perfume. This one was launched in 1991. Has notes of lily, rose, amber, oak moss, and sandalwood. And I have a large collection of different Elizabeth Taylor perfumes, including the White Diamonds. I really like her gardenia one too, which is really light and refreshing. And next on the list is Joan Crawford. And Joan Crawford is her screen name. She was actually born Lucille Fay Lassure on March 23rd, and actually the year is kind of unknown, but she passed away May 10th, 1977, and she was an American actress. And she started as a dancer in traveling theater companies before debuting on Broadway. And Crawford was signed to a motion picture contract with MGM in 1925. In the 1930s, Crawford's fame rivaled MGM colleagues such as Norma Shearer, and Crawford often played hard-working young women who find romance and financial success. And these rag-to-riches stories were really well received during the 1930s and the Great Depression. And Crawford became one of Hollywood's most prominent movie stars and one of the highest paid actresses in the United States. Her films started to lose money by the end of the 1930s, and she was labeled box office poison. And Joan Crawford had two signature scents, including Estee Lauder Youth Dew and Jungle Gardenia. Youth Dew is another vintage fragrance. This one was launched in 1952. And this one is rich with flowers and spices and precious woods. It's a very strong and powerful fragrance. To be honest, I find it a bit much. But people say that it just depends on your body chemistry. Some people love it and say that it settles really well. Trust me, I want to like it because it is a vintage Estee Lauder fragrance. And she also loved Jungle Gardenias, same as Elizabeth Taylor. And this one's from 1932. And this one has blends of gardenia and jasmine. I love Jungle Gardenia over Youth Dew, in my opinion. It's just a lot more light and refreshing. And Joan Crawford's favorite face cream was Erno Laszlo Night Cream, similar to Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe. And she also loved the Phormula 3-9 Repair Cream, but she also spent a lot of time making her own concoctions at home, making her own face masks, and she made hair masks with mayonnaise, so I think she even just put olive oil on her skin. So I think she kind of did a DIY approach, and she mentioned this in her book, My Way of Life. And Joan Crawford had a very intense beauty routine that you can see in the opening scenes of that TV show Feud and Mummy Dearest. And she had her assistant rub lotion on her face and neck. She also rubbed lemons on her elbows to keep them looking young and smooth. She would also immerse her face in ice water and splash it 25 times to shrink her pores. And in her book, My Way of Life, she describes moisturizer as the most blessed invention in the last 2 decades. And she would always apply moisturizer morning and night to her face and neck. And Joan Crawford would chew gum vigorously as a way to tone her jaw and neck muscles. And she would use mayonnaise in her hair as a hair mask, as I mentioned before. And it was very important for Joan to have moisturized soft hands, and would carry rose water and glycerin with her to use on her hands every time she washed her hands. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm planning on doing a few more roundups of some other old Hollywood actresses. So let me know who you want me to feature in some other videos. And I'll see you guys again soon. And don't forget to check out my YouTube membership located next to my subscribe button. You'll see a join button. I do a monthly live stream and a bonus monthly video, and you get 20% off vintage doll cosmetics, so I'll link that below. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Alright, bye guys.